You're going to be quite impressed and surprised at how efficient it can make you become as a rotomold company. All those opportunities we missed with scrap and lack of production, it makes you better almost overnight.
I am so excited to be talking with Carl Claerbout today with Claerbout Consulting. And Carl, I know most of our viewers, they know you, they know of you, they know of your family's legacy in rotomolding. And I know you started very young, actually, in rotomolding with your family-owned business, Dutchland Plastics. You worked in all facets and all departments, and then worked your way into leadership, obviously, taking that leadership with strategic achievements that helped your company economically grow into one of the most respected companies in the plastic industry, before becoming a leader in operations and manufacturing as a consultant and coach. And I know that you have a deep passion for helping family-owned businesses in rotomolding succeed with all the challenges in today's ever-evolving business landscape. Can you tell me a little bit, how have you seen the plastics and rotomolding industry grow throughout the years? What's becoming better in the industry? What's becoming a little more challenging in rotomolding?
First of all, thanks for having me, Christy. And I just want to mention one thing. The success we had at Dutchland was, I was just a small part of it. We had great employees, loyal, dedicated. They would do anything you'd ask. And we were taught by our parents, take care of the employees, they'll take care of you. And that, to me, that's the secret to a successful company. It's working with them and listening to them, and just they make or break your company. So yes, our company did very well, had a great reputation, but it was a total team effort from the top all the way down to the bottom, if I may say it that way. So that was the main reason for our success. I think the industry. If you walk around any block, no matter where you are today, if you walk around any block in your neighborhood, in a city, you're going to see a rotomolded product if you look for it. Years ago, that wasn't the case. Now, if you're, if you bleed rotomolding kind of like I do, you're going to see it either straight in front of you, behind you, up above you, down in the ground. Rotomolding is just becoming more and more popular, I believe, even though it's still unknown to a lot of designers, a lot of companies. It used to be a fear that rotomolding was going to die out because injection molding and blow molding were so much bigger, and they were automating, and it was going to knock us out of business, or knock rotomolders out of business. And I see the exact opposite. Even though we do need to look at how we can automate and make things more efficient for the operators and react quicker to issues. I believe it's just going to keep growing. And it's exciting. Parts are getting bigger, they're getting more complicated, materials are expanding. So to me, it's exciting. It keeps me young. Maybe I guess I could be retired by now, but I don't see that in the near future because I just enjoy it too much and enjoy helping companies solve the problems that they're having, which we had at Dutchland for a lot of years before we figured things out. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. And I know that with high interest rates and some other factors kind of slowed the economy. And how do you see rotational molders adapting to that?
The smart molders, assuming they're slowing down, the smart molders are going to realize that we're not going to make as much money because volumes are down, and you need the sales to be profitable. But in the meantime, the good ones are really starting to focus more on what they're doing every day, And there are other molders that just continue to do the same thing day after day after day because that's what they know. And over time, they're going to be losing more and more equity in their company, and um, and they'll just be starting to break even or even starting to lose money because they aren't making changes to improve while things are slowing down. I mean, you always need to improve, but especially when the economy slows down, you got to figure out ways to become more efficient in the plant. And I'd say just from all the places I go, I'd say a third of the molders are maybe trying to become much more efficient, while the other two-thirds talk about it or don't even think about it and just really don't do much different. And we need things done differently in the industry. We need to focus more on what we're doing.
I definitely agree. And we have been making a lot of those changes as well at Snap Plastics. So we've seen kind of the same things. And talking about some of the things people are doing differently, what are some of the things that Claerbout Consulting does differently than other consultants in using real-time data? I know obviously one of the things that we're partnering on together is RotoEdge Pro. And tell me a little bit about how that partnership is helping you to consult some of these small and large family-owned businesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, when I started helping John a number of years ago now, just with my consulting, working with their operators, and um, you could see the frustration. He'd be scheduling machines, molds on the machines, and he'd be taking them off, putting new ones on, and just constantly changing molds. Then when he thought he'd have everything finished, he'd find out that, oh, geez, I thought we had everything done, but I didn't know we ran so many scrap parts on this machine or on that machine. And it was very frustrating for him. And I knew the exact feeling we'd have that by us too. Um, he said, Carl, I'm going to figure out something that's going to allow us to schedule more efficiently. Just scheduling molds more efficiently. That's how it originally started. But I'm going to figure out a scheduling plan for each oven and do it, like a week in advance. I said, John, I've been trying that for years at Dutchland. Our family's been trying that, our employees. I said, good luck, because if you can come up with something, molders are going to be flocking to your door, because I think we're all firefighters by nature with this process. He said, if you come up with something, I'll applaud you, but I don't think you're going to have any luck.
And you are one of the first partners of RotoEdge Pro. What was your first thoughts when you first saw the software and got to experience it?
I thought it was good. It identified some things, and it was new, but I could tell that we need more yet, and John knew that as well. So I'm working on it. Just give me your first thoughts on it. And I thought, yeah, it's good, but we talked a little about it together, and where it needed to be improved, and he continued to work on that to where it is today. And today it's incredible. I've been so impressed and quite honestly amazed that he came up with something as great as it is.
If RotoEdge Pro would have been available when you were active in Dutchland, how do you think that would have changed or affected running your plant?
Oh man, oh man, oh man. It would have saved us a lot of time, a lot of firefighting by, I think I was saying, putting molds on, taking them off, and then identifying problems later on down the line because we weren't keeping track of, like real-time data, that if we ran scrap, a lot of times we didn't know it. And um, it, it, it cost us money. I mean, we were able to survive through it, but I, I just, it's hard to put a number on how much different we would have been back then, because we worked very hard at scheduling machines, trying to improve scrap, improve output on the machines each shift. And we were pretty good at it, but not near as good as what RotoEdge points out today, which has been really refreshing for me to see.
In working with consulting other rotomolding companies, what do you see some of their biggest lost opportunities or challenges being these days?
I would say it's really the rotomolding 101. Things get overlooked. You've got too much scrap happening because they aren't focusing enough on it. You've got lost production. You don't always figure out that, it's first shift or it's second shift or it's third shift or um, it with RotoEdge, you can have it on your watch, or you can have a computer right above the machine showing exactly where you are at that time of day. And you can look back, okay, how did we do in the last 24 hours? And for me, being in a plant that has it, I could be working on a machine with the operators doing training work or whatever it is, working with a supervisor, trying to explain things to them, how to maybe make things more efficient for everyone. We can be working on a machine, and all of a sudden they'll say, how are they doing on that machine that we looked at earlier this morning? And they can look right away, oh geez, we've got some issues there. It looks like we're running scrap. And so we would go over there to find out what's going on here. Without RotoEdge, I wouldn't have thought of it. It's just, I'm just focusing on this one machine right now, which you need to do at times. But in the meantime, if you lose focus in other areas of the plant, you're going to start racking up some large numbers of scrap pretty quick, or lost production because the machine wasn't, or the operators maybe weren't indexing the machine as quickly as they should. And it's just nice to have that right at your fingertips. I'll say you can just look and see exactly where you're at on every machine any minute of the day you'd like to do that.
You've worked a lot in the rotomolding industry. Have you ever come across anything like RotoEdge Pro?
No, I never have. I've heard a lot of molders complain about the same issues, that we've been talking about here. And I said, hey, I know where you're at. It's very difficult. We're firefighters, and it's hard to figure out a program to do better scheduling and to have a better handle on everything going on in the plant. And originally I said there's nothing out there that I know of that can make us better. Um, so I've, other than just recently now working with RotoEdge and the people that have it, um, yeah, I haven't seen anything out there. And there may be molders that have something that works pretty well. We had something at Dutchland over time that we thought worked pretty well, but not to the degree that RotoEdge can do for a company.
What would you say to those folks who are thinking that a new ERP or an accounting system would be sort of comparable to adding RotoEdge Pro? We obviously work in conjunction with ERPs and accounting edge systems, but to somebody who's considering one of those options, as well as RotoEdge Pro, what would you say to those folks?
Well, from my experience, I would say good luck if you're going to try something other than RotoEdge. Somewhat confidently say you're wasting your time and money by trying something on your own. I would recommend take a look at this RotoEdge. At least get introduced to it and see what you think about it, because I think you're going to be quite impressed and surprised at how efficient it can make you become as a rotomold company.
That kind of leads into my next question, which is what would you say about somebody who is delaying adding RotoEdge Pro to their company's programs?
You're losing opportunity every day you don't entertain the idea of getting it in there, because I've lived it. I've lived without RotoEdge, and it doesn't mean we can't survive without it. But that low hanging fruit and all those opportunities we missed with scrap and lack of production. I said it's costing you money every day by not at least taking a look at RotoEdge, because once you see it, I think you'll believe in it and you'll implement it, and you're going to be surprised how quickly the payback is. It's a cheap investment. It makes you better almost overnight, which is unheard of in rotomolding.
What are some of the benefits that you see from RotoEdge that you can't really get from anywhere else?
I just think the real-time data, you could see right at that moment, how are we doing today? Are we missing something? Are we doing really well somewhere? What happened? Why don't we have more parts out in the last 24 hours? And you can go back and you can see that, oh man, second shift we had an issue, and we got to make sure that gets corrected tonight so that they know, or third shift might have had an issue, and it can be first shift having an issue. It's just, almost immediately how things are going. And because there's in a rotomolding plant, there are so many distractions. You can try to focus on one thing, but as soon as you do that and you think everything else is running okay, that's not the case in rotomolding. There's no consistency in rotomolding other than inconsistencies you have, which quite often create scrap, lower production rates. It's just knowing exactly where you are every moment of every day or night.
So my very last question is, what do you see in store for the future of rotomolding?
I believe rotomolding is going to grow. I think that's what keeps me really interested, because I'm seeing new things developed all the time, and there are going to continue to be new things developed as more and more people are becoming aware of it. There are more molders popping up. There are a number of people that I've helped start up that were maybe buying from China or from Mexico, and they're sick of dealing with that, and they want to start their own companies. So I see that happening. Obviously, there are several companies that are groups, I should say, that are buying out other rotomolders and forming some pretty big corporations. But each and I think that'll always happen. But I think there are going to be molders popping up all over again as people become more and more aware of rotomolding. And if you can get your operators trained and make them aware of how they're doing on a day-to-day basis, that's where RotoEdge works. Also, their goals set, and they'll see exactly how they're doing during the day. We need to get these people interested in that, and I think if we can get more workers that are really kind of interested in what they're doing in rotomolding, I think the industry is just going to grow. The demand for product, like I said earlier, you just see it all over if you look for it, and that's going to continue to grow, I believe. So, yeah, I'm very, very bullish on rotomolding.
And we've actually seen with RotoEdge Pro, with Smack Plastics, we've seen the ability to do a lot more with fewer employees. I know that is definitely a challenge in the industry, is getting good employees and, being able to have all that good help. But we've actually at Smack Plastics seen a huge increase in productivity, even without a huge increase in our number of employees, just being able to use the employees that we have more efficiently as well.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. More production, fewer employees, and then ultimately, what I try to do is just what you're saying, but also at the same time making it easier for those employees, because there are ways you can do it to make it easier. And a lot of molders don't know that. They just haven't experienced it yet. And most molders haven't experienced RotoEdge yet, and that can help make it easier for the employees as well, and make companies much more successful than where they're at today.
Carl, I know that you've been at some of the ARM conventions where John Smalley, the owner of Snack Plastics and RotoEdge Pro, has presented RotoEdge Pro. What can you tell us about how you think the reception has been in the rotomolding industry for RotoEdge?
People are interested in what John was saying, but he really needs to have the one-on-one, and we have to convince these molders that this is a good thing. And I think once people start seeing and hearing about it, I think can become contagious. And there are going to be more and more people asking, "Hey, what is this? I need to meet with John." I really think as good of program or as good of software as the RotoEdge is, I don't think so far, it's just my opinion, I don't think there's been enough interest in the R meetings that there should have been. But I would certainly encourage everyone to try to set up an appointment with John where they can just meet with him one-on-one and say, "Hey, tell us about this. I know you spoke about it at the convention, but I want to get more into the nitty-gritty of it and hear more how it can help our individual company."
Yeah, it is difficult to present something like RotoEdge because it's so customizable to your own particular business. It sometimes is a challenge to present that to everyone, and being able to have a one-on-one with John where you can say, these are my challenges, this is what equipment we have, what can you do to help? We've seen absolutely the best results when people are able to talk one-on-one with John and get those kind of individualized, personalized answers on what RotoEdge can do to help their business specifically.
It's a great investment for a molder that wants to get serious. I mean, the amount of scrap that'll be saved and the production gained in a week's time probably pays for the investment they have to make. And I don't call it an expense, I call it an investment, and a good one.
Well, thank you again so much, Carl, for joining us today. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. I know we look forward to working with you more in the future to help businesses get that real-time data that will help give them solutions to the problems and the challenges that they're having. And we look forward to seeing you at ARM this year as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Christy.